to have you back. If you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers, and we're just about to get started. I have with me in the studio Lateral and Economics. Many thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we also have joining us live from Lagos, Alex Wilcox, also an economist. Many thanks for being with us on the show. Alright, now, moving on to the topic we have at hand, I'm going to be starting with my studio guest. So what do you make of this, I would like to say the amendments of bilateral relations that Nigeria has with the UAE, or the ones they are working on presently, that President Bola Tinubu is trying to achieve? What are your views on it?
I think it's a step in the right direction for so many reasons. One of the problems we had was number one, inability of the airlines to repatriate their funds as at when. Number two, we also had a problem with crime being committed by a certain age group of Nigerians actually in the UAE, which the authorities of the UAE was not finding interesting at all. So a mix of those issues, and then we had these visa issues or slam by UAE. So it is important, number one, for a government that is saying we are ready for business in Nigeria. We want to attract foreign direct investment. We want people to bring their money and come and invest it in Nigeria. We must reassure them. So part of the reassurance is to also visit those people who are unhappy with us as a country because their investment their money is trapped in Nigeria. So speak to them, resolve that issue, give them the assurance that we are ready for, it's a new regime, we are ready for business. So that is very important. Then people looked at this visa issue only from the perspective of people who are traveling, who want to go to Dubai for tourism. But there are actually Nigerians who are working in Dubai. This problem affected them. Some of them could not renew their work visas, so once that one expired, they have to leave. Some of them need to change their job. They could not change their job. Meanwhile, Nigerians that are abroad are also part of the foreign exchange supply that we have in Nigeria. Is it not so? They are working there, they are earning foreign exchange, and they are sending some of those back home to Nigeria, which we need. So it's a mixed bag, but I think it's positive overall. It will also lead us to start thinking in some other directions which are very important. So if you lift a ban, they bring their aircraft here, they continue to carry passengers because they have a huge tourism market in that. So the following question is, so what does Nigeria stand to gain? Because it means that we have to continue looking for dollars to ensure they can repatriate their profit. What we need to do is to also be able to support our own industry, so that as international airlines are making money in Nigeria, Nigerian airlines too will be able to go out there and make money. So whatever we can do to support that, you see, the activities in the aviation sector is one of the major measures of economic activities in an economy. Once the number of flights are dwindling and are going down, the perception is that your economy is going down, something downhill. And once it increases, it's also a measure of the fact that there are increased economic activities going on in your country. So we should be able to stimulate aviation, ensure that it is not just international airlines that can come here to make money, but that our own airlines also can be part of that prosperity. This is part of what I believe the discussion by Mr. Tinubu.
Yes, definitely. So now let's go to Alistair Wilcox. So fine minds, right, I would like to say, have opined that this new deal with the United Arab Emirates, Nigeria does not really stand to gain so much for it. Rather, we might just be at the receiving end of the bits and pieces of it. Do you agree with that, or do you think that there are some things Nigeria could do to make sure they benefit equally from this new sign? Well, to agreements to be signed.
First of all, greet my brother and my friend, Mr. Lajede. It's nice hearing from you. Can you hear me? Hello, I hope you can hear me.
Okay, do you need me to repeat the question? The question I
No,
asked
no, no,
was
no.
that.
I heard you. I heard you. I heard you. I said, I hope you can hear me.
So I asked that some finance have opined that Nigeria does not have
I
much to gain from this newly signed agreement with this EA. Well, agreements to be signed because they are still trying to finalize everything. They believe that Nigeria might just be at the receiving end of the scraps and bits and pieces of what is left. So what do you think Nigeria can do right now to make sure that they get as much as possible from this new deal with the UAE?
Yes, I heard you clearly, and I'm just being sure that you hear me because I'm speaking here. I heard you very clearly. For me, um, like you said, the entire spectrum of the agreement has not been shown or revealed. All of us, everybody's talking about the visa, the visa, the visa. But I think if it's only visa ban, I don't think the president will want to go to UAE just to go and discuss visa issue. I think the president has a wider vision as to what can be done with UAE, the kind of relationship that can be built. There's a lot to learn from UAE. I mean, UAE is a country that came out of the dust and then from nowhere they became a blossoming country, a nation. So Nigeria has a lot to learn from UAE, and I think at government to government level, we should be seeing it from that aspect. But if you bring it down, if you cascade it down to the everyday Nigerian, well, what every Nigerian knows about is how to travel to Dubai, either for holiday or for business, or for some kind of buying and selling business. And in that case, of course, only UAE will gain because the UAE is a country that have metamorphosed themselves into a hub, into a trading hub, whereby every part of the world comes with their money and parts with their money in UAE, and then it becomes the same circle. So if it's only person to person, yeah, then there's nothing to cheer about because there will not be much to gain. But if it's at the international government to government level, there are a lot of other relationships that will be there. And again, attracting some of those businesses that are in UAE. Now, UAE is a good hub, and there are a lot of businessmen in UAE. So a lot of it can also be attracted to Nigeria at the government to government level. And so that is why it will be very, very necessary to have a relationship that will transcend only visa ban. Now, yes, like my brother in the studio has said, the visa ban is bad enough because there are a lot of Nigerians that live and work in UAE, and they also contribute to diaspora remittances. Whatever thing they send home is also part of the diaspora remittances mix. So if they are not able to renew their work permit, their visas to go there, then it becomes a problem. And remember, it's not only Nigerians living in Nigeria, even Nigerians living in the US, living in the UK, living in other parts of the country, because the ban is for all Nigerians. It's not just Nigerians living inside Nigeria. So it will be quite devastating that when people will have genuine things to go and do that will bring money for them, they will not be able to. So that's why every country will want to keep their relationship at a good level, knowing fully whether it is symbiotic. Again, furthermore, we know that our airline, yes, you might say UAE has two airlines that fly to Nigeria. So they have a large part of the traffic flow out of, with Nigeria. But we also have an airline, I think Peace Airline, that's also having slots to run the UAE route. And the UAE route, it's a lucrative route because it is a route that connects Africa to Asia and to other parts of the country, other part of the world. So if Nigeria is not playing in that field, then even whatever little, no matter how little, then you lost that completely because that hub connects to India, connects to Asia, China, and all those places. So if you only have your own airline, only foreign airline running that route, then you are not going to make anything. So UAE is quite strategic, both on government to government level. It's quite strategic. Economically, it's quite strategic because there's lots of activities going on which we can attract. But of course, like you're asking, and the person to person level, where you might think that Nigerians may not gain much because mostly the large part of the travel population are those who are either doing holiday, visiting, taking money to go and spend there, or just going shopping, or just going to buy goods that they will sell in Nigeria. And so that may not account for too much.
The fact that this meddling of um, of relations, bilateral relations with other countries might not necessarily be what is going to rescue Nigeria from our economic troubles, the economic problems that we are having. So do you think that this might not be enough and there are some other things we need to do by our own self before the bilateral relations is implemented with our efforts, and then we'll have very good yield?
Yes, there are things we need to do in-house, but it's not a case of you first of all do one and then you start the other after you have done a work. Those things can be going on at the same time. You're fixing the home front. You also do what you can do, doing what you can do to ensure that the external relations are good. Gone are the days when a country could say, or politically say, oh, I'm on my own, I want to. No. It's a global, highly interconnected world. Even those things that you say you want to produce and offer to the world, there are international trade politics. If you don't understand it, after you produce it, nobody will buy them out there. So all those things must be going on at the same time. So that is why what the president is doing is in order, while at the same time, the ones at home, I'm delighted now that we have ministers who can begin to run with all those other ideas and make them work for us. Right. So some of the things he had mentioned in the past for the in-house, he has spoken about agriculture, he has spoken about industrialization. All those things must be going on in-house. That is for us to do. But for our partners out there, the relation, some of them will even bring businesses here. When they bring businesses here, they will employ Nigerians, they will pay taxes to the Nigerian government. So it's a win-win thing, and it is the true side of the coin that we must take a look at.
Definitely. So do you feel like the reality that we have with our exchange rate now, because of the holding of the CBN policy and adopting the one of the importers and exporters, do you feel like that one is really something could also attract investors to come to Nigeria to work?
I believe it's one of the assurances that the president will be giving out there, that we are working. Number one, that we have removed the multiple exchange rates. The multiple exchange rate has a way of incentivizing fraud and malpractices of all sorts. When you have dollar at the official window at 462 and it is 700 and something in the black market, that is a huge arbitrage opportunities, and people were messing with that. So it is part of introducing transparency into the foreign exchange management to collapse the rate. However, there is a lot of work to be done because now rate has been collapsed, but it doesn't appear as if there has been a dramatic rise in the supply end of things where we get this foreign exchange from. So that will require that we work both in-house within the country and whatever buttons we can also press outside there. A very good example, when you go out there and talk to someone and say bring your business, when the guy is coming from India to Nigeria, he's not coming with naira, he's coming into the country with dollars. Those are the kind of things that will help to show up the supply of naira. When the foreign direct investment comes into the country, they bring more dollars. When there is availability of more dollars, we're able to meet some of the demands at the foreign exchange window, and it helps to stabilize the crisis that we are witnessing with the foreign exchange right now. Of course, there is the internal one too, in which we begin to produce. As we produce and we offer things to the world, we earn more foreign exchange. Foreign exchange stability is very critical for economic growth and sustainability of Nigeria.
Okay, all right, and now to Alistair Wilcox, and this is still on the whole exchange rate thing. Some people believe that in Nigeria we are supposed to be selling our crude oil in naira rather than dollar, since naira is our own currency. But then that has also been countered that our naira does not have so much strength, and we do not produce things that we would say that okay, then whatever we are producing is a must-have. Then we can negotiate the terms of agreement and how the trade would go. So I don't know, how many years' time do you feel like we can start trading with our naira instead of relying so heavily on the dollar as a medium of exchange?
capacity to trade in your naira. It's not a convertible currency. It's a currency that is very weak at top because you're not a productive economy. You have little or nothing to offer apart from, like you said, oil. So our product, and then we have an unbridled taste for foreign goods. Now, since I was in primary school, in elementary school, we've been talking about Nigeria as a dumping ground for foreign goods. I'm talking about in the 80s, late 70s and in the 80s when I was in primary school. We've been talking about Nigeria being a dumping ground for foreign goods, and we're talking about when there's even no the current unbridled taste for luxury goods such as hair, shoes, bag, watches. If an iPhone is made tomorrow in Europe, the next day it's in Nigeria. The latest cars, I'm sure 2004 model of cars already being ordered for, and they're coming to Nigeria. So with such an unbridled taste, and then you are not exporting anything that is substantial that could raise the level of earnings in foreign exchange. So what are you going to? So when we are currently become convertible, look, most times we blame government for some of these things, and I'm not speaking for government as an economist, as an accountant. It's a forces of input-output equation, demand and supply. You cannot be making demand for what you don't have or what you don't have control over. So the dollar you are looking for to import phones, to import wristwatches, to import shoes, to import bags, to import hairs, human hair and all that. Who would produce this? Does Nigerian government print dollar? Of course not. So, and the government, sincerely, I'm sure I have great empathy for those in government, especially those at the level of the presidency and the ministries of finance and all those that are in charge of policy. Because every day the blame is on you, and you cannot come up to say this is the real situation, and then you are not able to satisfy because you cannot tell the people the truth and say it is you that is creating the problem. Look, so until we begin to become a productive economy and less dependent, and then begin to reduce our appetite for foreign goods, and I've said this over time, there is no magic that we've done. I don't see any magic. I'm not reading the books. I don't know if my brother Olajide, who is also a professional accountant like me, I don't know if he has read any part of the book where you just sit down and then your currency begin to gain weight, either through legislation or whatever, begin to gain weight, and you just begin to. It doesn't happen. So it is you. Every day we're increasing our demand for foreign goods. We are just paying lip service to industrialization. Even when that comes to being, we still individually we still reject our own domestic goods. Let me tell you something. Some of the footwears we all crave for today, Aba used to be a hub for footwears. Have we not? I mean, if our brothers from the southeast have been so committed to this country, could they not have developed that industry to the point that they should not be exporting? But what do? You find a lot of them in Lagos importing from Turkey, from China. Why? So these are the things that we are talking about. It cannot happen, and it's sad. So if you wait for the next 100 years and the attitude is like this, and we're not able to increase our earning capacity with respect to foreign, with respect to export of goods and services that will earn us dollar, we will become worse by the day, and that's my fear. It will get worse by the day. So we better all brace up, and those of us that have access to the media, let's be telling the citizen the truth. It's not enough to come here and rubbish government and blame government and blame government. So long as there is unbridled taste for foreign goods and low productivity in terms of exports, in terms of exportation. Look at even common rice that a lot of money was invested in. Rice. I know how much the CBN invested in production of rice. Even though we've come to a good level of sustainability, yet Nigerians still prefer basmati rice, all kinds of rice. If it's not foreign rice, it's not, and it cuts across both the rich and the poor. You find that a poor man who is complaining, he's still telling you about foreign rice. Nigerian rice is not sweet. Nigerian rice is not sweet. It has to be foreign. So with this kind of attitude, China did not become great overnight. China locked themselves in in the 70s and the 80s. They locked themselves in and said, we are ready to make sacrifices. He who wants to eat omelette must break the egg. China locked themselves in and said, we're ready to make sacrifice. And they started. They all desired made in China products. China product used to be one of the worst in the world. They all desired, come down, desired to make the sacrifice. And so the China is better for it. But in our own case, it is just to rubbish the country, do comedy of the country, make all kinds of analysis and blame the president, blame the government. And the government does not have the capacity to tell people the truth. Even those of us that come on air to speak, we just play the gallery and play populism, and we don't tell the people the truth. So long as we do not produce, our production still remains around oil, our main source remains around oil, and then we'll keep going cap in hand to look for FDI, to look for investors, because it's only when investors come that you have a buffer of foreign exchange. But when they are going, as they are coming, they are going. You still need to pay out. So at every point in time, you are in net deficit, and you be in crisis, because as they come in, they will make their money. They either want to repatriate profits, or they want to repatriate their capital outright. What will happen? You still need to look for foreign currency to pay them. So we need to understand what is happening and know how to work around it as a country, as a people, not as a political party, not as a obedient or ratified or articulated. It is the fact that it affects every one of us, and we need to face it headlong.
And I like that you mentioned China, because I was going to make an example. Do you not feel that on the part of the government, they could also help, maybe making policies and making sure that Nigeria only consume goods that are made within the country, and we do not export, maybe even if it's going to be for a period of like 10 years, to first test the waters to see if it's going to work for us or not? So do you not feel that we should charge government and hold them responsible in terms like this?
Look, let me say this. Nigerians are naturally unpatriotic. That I'm talking Nigerians now. So when people go into government, they take that unpatrioticness to government, and they think of maybe self, how will it affect me, or how will it affect my friends? What you said, like I said, that's what China did in the 80s. I mean, at the time, Israel was under sanction from everywhere in the world, apart from maybe US and Britain, that we are still their friends. But they said, no, we will not bow. They look inward. Now, if today the president comes up and said, ban this and that, what will be the reaction, even in the media? The man is suffering Nigerians. Look at even the narrative of what is happening with the removal of fuel subsidy. The removal of fuel subsidy, what is the narrative? Oh, Tinubu is suffering. The word is he's suffering Nigerians. That's the narrative. He's suffering Nigerians. When during the Buhari era, Buhari banned 41 items. I mean, the then government banned about 41 items not eligible for foreign exchange. What was the narrative? Oh, Nigerians are hungry. They must import food. They must import coconut from Benin Republic. We are not ashamed. In fact, the worst part of this thing that we lack shame in this country. We believe that Benin Republic should feed us with tomatoes. Benin Republic, a country of about 60 million, and you are wondering, you are over 200 million, and you are expecting Benin Republic to feed you. So we must import rice from Benin. That is the only business we know. That is the only business. People are hungry. Nigerians are hungry. Oh, because they are hungry, therefore the government is punishing them. The government is suffering them. That's the narrative. And it's carried on either in social media, even in the press, the regular press. There is no cohesion as to how we must look at the problem we have in Nigeria and bring us out. Look, fuel subsidy removal has remained an albatross in our neck. Do I like it? No. Is it convenient for me to be buying fuel at almost 100 naira per liter? No. If not for this hike in price, maybe I will have been in your studio. But now I plan where I go. Thank God for my friend Olojo, who still uses a very big Jeep. I don't know how he does it, so maybe he will teach me. Now I manage where I go. So and that was the only way to go, because at some point we were getting it wrong. We were not having enough money to run our services. We are going to debt, all because we are subsidizing fuel. And then when the government removed the subsidy, what is the narrative? Even in the media, oh, this government is suffering us. They are punishing us. Even political parties, the PDP and the LP, that all talked about the removal of fuel subsidy. What is today? They are all playing to the gallery. The government is suffering us, is punishing Nigerians, bad policy. Meanwhile, this is the government that is going about. I'm not speaking for the government, I'm not employed by the government, going about the whole world, looking for investment, looking to reform, looking for strategic reforms and partnership for us to get a better foothold on how the country should run. But what is the narrative, even among the political parties? Oh, the government is suffering Nigerians, is punishing Nigerians. It's so long as we continue in this, and until the government also put their foot down and said enough is enough, we must come back and rejig our system. You don't want to eat Nigerian beans, you believe that Cote d'Ivoire beans is better than Nigerian beans. You don't want to eat Nigerian yam, you prefer you think Cameroon yam is better than Nigerian yam. You don't want to eat Nigerian pepper, oh, it is Cameroon pepper that is better. What kind of people are we? And then we are complaining every day. Our dollar is falling, naira is falling. So until we make up our mind to say, look, we must do things now to protect the coming upcoming generations. If not so, God forbid that you find out that one day naira is now 2,000 naira to a dollar. And it's look at Ghana. Ghana is becoming deteriorating by the day because of this kind of things. They're even better than us because in terms of domestic consumption, Nigeria is worst. We don't want to consume domestically. Despite all the things that are happening, we don't promote what happens in Nigeria. We don't promote our the things that goes on. Rather, we keep lambasting the country, abusing, insulting, not even giving credence to the things that are happening, so that others will follow suit. No. So we need to change a totality of our orientation, a totality of our attitude towards the country, a total of attitude towards leadership. Yes, I'm not only believe for leadership. Leadership has like a big challenge in terms of patriotism and nationalism. They all carry it into government. Those that are elected, they all carry it into governance. But we must begin to set the agenda. There are a few people that want to do the right thing. We must begin to encourage those few people so that it can cascade down and everybody will buy it. We'll get beaten by the bug of patriotism and nationalism, so we can get the contract of the wood.